Hate to see you go, Lions, but we love to watch you leave because you chirped all season, and this was your Super Bowl run. So, not biased here at all as a Vikes fan, but, not a single win between any NFC North teams. I know we got bounced too, you have to say that, but, the Lions were frauds too. All right. Welcome back. Episode 7 of the Borderline Sports Podcast. We have our championship weekend set for the NFL. So we're going to be going through the NFL divisional round games that we saw here last weekend. We also have the college football playoff championship game that we're going to be going through. And then we're going to bring you some headlines as well in a couple segments. Really looking forward to getting into it this week. We had some great college football, NFL, and just good sports weekend overall. What'd you think about last weekend?
Yeah, excited, and especially more excited this upcoming week with the championship games. Saw college football wrap up too, so just focused on NFL and also kind of starting to talk about some other sports as they start heating up, basketball, hockey, a little bit of golf, and baseball in a couple weeks here. So yeah, let's get into it. Let's kick it off, dude.
All right, yeah. So starting off with winners from this week, I guess I'll let you go first here and kick us off. Who'd you have for a winner and who'd you have for a loser this week?
So I just talked about getting into some baseball. Thought the Dodgers were the winner for me this week. They just, seem to have triple the amount of money as everyone else. They got two new free agent signings, Roki Sasaki from Japan, and also Tanner Scott, um, the closer they acquired from the Padres. So just, they continue to get better coming off winning the World Series. Um, and just taking no time and letting really nobody even come close to kind of putting together a roster like they got. On the other side, I thought just a loser. It's kind of again just branching out a little bit, talk about some college basketball. Last night, Dan Hurley just again embarrassed himself, kind of just going off at the ref for turning his back on him. I know he's won back-to-back championships, but he's just kind of getting, to that level of being beyond unlikable. So I'm just gonna call him a loser just because he's been a loser this year, starting off with down in Hawaii, saying he's never going back, that type of thing. So just kind of sick of him and hope UConn just doesn't make any noise this year. But what do you think, winner and loser?
Yeah, so for me, my winner for this week, I'm sticking within the NFL here still. I'm gonna go with Saquon, man. He makes it to his first NFC Championship game. And he is the offense of the Eagles. I mean, they look pretty abysmal throwing the ball. They can't throw the ball at all. I know Jalen Hurts got hurt, but we'll get into that later. But yeah, Saquon, absolute beast, man. 205 yards rushing, 2 touchdowns, literally just put the team on his back, which he has been doing, just all season. So very impressed with him. I mean, he is an absolute athletic specimen. So yeah, that's my winner for this week. It's gonna be Saquon, and then for my loser, it's got to be the Lions, man. They bow out in epic fashion. I think in the NFC North, not a single team even came close to winning a playoff game. Not one single one score game between the three of us, the Packers, the Vikings, and the Lions, which is, bizarre considering I think our combined record was something like 40 wins between our three teams, I do believe. Or maybe even yeah, something like 40 wins. I think the Packers had 11 wins, right?
Yep.
And then 29 combined between the Vikings and the
He was
and the
40 and
Lions.
40 and 11.
Yeah, 40 and 11 and not even one close playoff game, which is crazy. I mean, the the Packers may have been the closest, but not a single one score game. So, and just an awful performance by Jared Goff in that game. Honestly, you love to see it. I love to watch it. Go Commanders. They're definitely my favorite to hopefully take down the Eagles, but that's a tall order. But yeah, that's who I had for my loser, the Lions going down.
Definitely a shocker. Definitely didn't see it coming. But um, yeah,
They're
I
just
guess
they're just so cocky, dude. Like they were so cocky. This was their season, you know. Everyone, they all were claiming, we'll see you or to KOC what Dan Campbell say, we'll see you in 2 weeks. But yeah, we'll see him in Cancun in 2 weeks. Gotta
yeah,
love it.
I don't know where their fan base just all of a sudden acted like they were like the Patriots dynasty, you know? It's like on Twitter, it's just insane the stuff they were saying. Um, so love to see them lose. I do wish like they could have got to the Super Bowl and then got crushed just to like really defeat the fan base. And also for just competition purposes, given the Bills or Chiefs, just a lot to deal with. But good for the Commanders and it's cool for their program.
All right, yeah. So for my clip of the week, what we got here is the trick play to Jamison Williams. And he just throws the dumbest pass. I mean, they absolutely screwed themselves here. Nobody's open. He really should have just taken. He might have been able to, get around that corner right there and gain, 10 or 12 yards, but with his speed at least. But instead, he just, you know, puts it right into the hands of the Commanders cornerback, gets the pick. They get the pick. It wasn't game
So
over
like
quite
what if
just
he
yet,
throw what
but
if he like throws it right here? You know what I mean?
to
To get like
to
he
Gibbs. Yeah, I
he
just don't
get
think Gibbs was looking for it.
yeah, I understand. But like I don't, the play just looked doomed from the start, for being honest. Like so there's this guy's here, but I'm assuming he's gonna see Gibbs and kind of like back out. But then let's see. So he's there, and then there's three guys there, dude. Like, what are we doing? Like that, and like
Ju-
just no,
Judge,
just know how much like the score and how much time is left, dude. Like, you know what I mean? This is like a must score drive, basically. I mean,
I
I
think
wouldn't
Ben
say must
Johnson.
score, but you can't turn it over like in this fashion. Um, and just give all the Commanders all the momentum. You know what I mean? Like, is a team that is like comes in looking for any hope. They're up 10 in the fourth quarter. Um, I was live betting the Lions basically all game, and then this fucking thing happens, dude. Like,
Yeah, I
so
mean, I think Ben Johnson himself right here. Just overthought it. I don't think that's a play call they needed to run with their offense. They could have just, you know, they didn't need to have that trick play. And also just knowing Jameson Williams. I mean, you saw that touchdown celebration, like, and some of his interviews. This is not the smartest guy you want throwing the football. I don't know if he makes the smartest decisions, even as talented as he is. I just feel like that was unnecessary. And, to put I would, maybe Amon Ra doesn't have an arm, but, maybe with a player that is going to be a little bit smarter with the ball right there and not go for the home run every try. So that was my clip of the week. It's pretty dumb, if I do say so, by the Lions.
yeah, and I mean, it's really dumb in hindsight, of course, but like, I don't know, they probably feel like they've ran that play 4 or 5 times, throughout the year. Redskins probably had a hunch at some point it was coming. So I don't know, just like what they did against the Bears with like the fake fumble fall down handoff thing. Just like they did a lot of stuff during the regular season that, gave teams a chance to see. Like come playoffs, it's like, what do they still have left for trickery? So
Yeah, well, they're in Cancun now, so.
yeah, right. Dang, Campbell's still in fucking Detroit. Um,
He's still at the field, probably, dude.
so this is a clip I had. I just thought this was kind of pretty relatable for most people that golf. This is William Mao just making an absolute fool out of himself in this bunker. Octuple bogey. So believe for people counting at home, that's a 12. Oh, par five. So I think it's gonna be a 13 for him. Um, maybe even 14. So I can't even do the math on what octuple means. So just we don't have to really watch this whole thing, but just you know, for anyone out there that golfs and the pros do it themselves too. So yeah, I guess
Oh my God, dude.
just
Yeah,
bunker to bunker.
I watched like half this clip initially. I didn't realize the amount of times he is just going right across the green.
And like that's devastating there too. I mean, that was his ninth,
Just,
I think, and it just trickled back in all the way down the slope. Like obviously that's not an easy shot to get out of there, and that's arguably what he should have done the first or second time. Just kind of pitch out to the front there.
oh my,
Back in. I want to see what he actually ends with.
for
They
quintuple.
cut it. They cut it off. So yeah, that was just my clip. I mean,
Yeah,
just relatable for the, average golfer. Yeah.
that is tough right there. Yeah, I saw that clip and oh man, he just. Well, do you have any idea what place he was in before? He
He was 6 under when he started
Yeah,
that.
which is
So
which is not bad. So,
no, he probably wasn't. I know in these early events, winning score is usually 20, 25 under. So I'm sure he wasn't quite in it, but at least like he probably was gonna made the cut, go home, take some money with him, and yeah, that's a tough one, you know. He's gonna get home and just hit it out of the bunker for the next 3 days.
yeah. Oh man, or just forget that performance. But
Yeah,
all right, should we get into some headlines that we have here?
yeah, let's do it. I mean,
You want to kick it off?
yeah, and this ties into just a question. I obviously Ben Johnson got hired by the Bears, but I mean, what do you think about coaches getting interviewed? I mean, it happened Monday, Tuesday, so they played Saturday, hired Monday, Tuesday. Is this good for the game, you think? It's kind of giving me some sort of like weird NIL vibes where they're just jumping ship and kind of abandoning where they're at. What do you think?
Mhm. Yeah, I mean, it could definitely be a distraction, that's for sure. I mean, especially if you're flying around interviewing places, like I guess I don't know if they do virtual at times if they're in the playoffs, but I don't know if a head coach should be flying back and forth from the Jags to the Jets to the Bears and then back to like the Lions, or just as a like, as hypothetical, but it's definitely a distraction and I it is potentially, I mean, it definitely is taken away from prep time. And it's, there's just so much surrounding those head coaches and you are surrounding those coaches that are, potentially suitors for teams that need a head coach. So, um, yeah, I mean, I feel like they've been doing this forever though. Or at least within the last like, 10 years. I don't know. Did they ever have a different rule, do you know?
No, I don't think so, but I think just it's also been everything seems to be,
Now it's
amplified
social
more,
social
right?
media, yeah, it just gets amplified.
And then it's the Lions fan base too, and I just saw so many tweets about people freaking out saying he threw, he wasn't, which I mean could be partially true. He's clearly trying to figure out what he's going to do after this year. And I mean, it didn't help kind of, they still put up 31 points. So it's not like they had no game plan at all. I just thought that's an interesting thing. I also just saw breaking news, dude. Lions defensive coordinator Aaron Glenn is planning to take the Jets head coach job. So um, looks like they'll be out both coordinators. Both coordinators hired basically right after, their loss, and it'll be interesting to see, who gets hired in their positions and kind of what the Lions look like next year, losing both coordinators and head coaching jobs.
Yeah, no, that is huge. I hadn't seen that yet, but I think we kind of knew that was coming based off of just tweets and stuff that we've seen, news surrounding the NFL right now, surrounding the Jets organization. I I guess I know that the Lions, I know that their defense was severely banged up, maybe the most banged up in the NFL, probably the most banged up in the NFL. What did Aaron Glenn have? Like one good year, really? I mean, I don't know. I don't know if I love that organizational hire for the Jets. I mean, the Jets are always in perpetual piss, like you said. And I continue to use that term, but what do you think about the hire? I don't necessarily hate it. I know that the Jets' identity is their defense, um, but they have all those weapons on offense now, and they don't really know how to use them. So, kind of surprised they didn't go offensive or didn't really consider that. What do you think?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, they probably went with who they thought was best available, and also I don't know, their defenses, like you said, kind of was their bread and butter at least 2 years ago. They had Salah in there, defensive guy. Um, I don't know. It's hard to say with coordinators like how much they're responsible for, what the head coach is doing, what the position coaches are doing. Kind of, is it actually a one-man show? Is there a lot of input from everyone? There's hundreds of people on these NFL staffs now. They got assistants at every position. Just, are they actually the kind of the mastermind behind it all? Um, so that's one thing. And I guess I don't know who else is really out there. Vrabel got taken. Of course, Ben Johnson's gone. I saw the
Your boy
dude who's coaching
McCarthy's
the
still.
Saints right now is looking to go to the Bears as well. Can't even think of his name.
Where
So
does
just
he? Or I think Dennis Allen.
yeah, yeah, that's it.
He's not with them anymore. They fired him though, midway through the year. So, but yeah, I see what you're saying.
No,
Yeah.
no, it's the interim. Whoever the interim coach is going
Oh, oh, really?
is going there. So that's what I had seen. And it's just really hard to tell. The NFL, a lot of things are like as is, like D'Amico Ryans gets hired by the Texans, comes in, takes over, makes that team competent again because they got a good quarterback too at the same time. You know what I mean? So what what is the coach actually responsible for at the end of the day besides kind of just make sure people are ready? So
Hmm. Yeah. What do you? Well, yeah. Just to continue on the coaching track, considering those were quite a few of the largest headlines from the week. What do you think about the Ben Johnson hiring for the Bears?
again, it's you know, case by case. I think if I was a Bears fan, I'd be excited just based on the buzz he's been making with the Lions, but he's also coaching a Lions team that has a ton of talent at every position. I'm not saying the Bears don't, um, but it's it's going to be, can he develop Caleb into a good player? Can he come in, make some impactful draft picks, that type of thing? And just Bears are just one of those Bears Cowboys, like as a head coach, like going there just seems kind of like a career halter almost, if you know what I mean. It's just hard to say. And they go play the Lions twice a year now. Um, Play, of course, in the NFC North, so it's not like they're going to get any free wins, have an easy chance to make the playoffs. If you would have went to, say a Saints, they're playing in the NFC South, sorry, where it's just a free for all. He's going into a place that it's gonna be tough. Like there's no free games out there. So I guess that's kind of it's hard to say early in the year, or really the year's not even over. So I guess kind of wait to see how things shake out, who they draft, kind of where other head coaches, assistants fall, and revisit it sometime this summer and kind of think about it. But I don't know. Got any
For
thoughts on
sure.
it?
Yeah, no, I mean, I agree. I think Bears fans are super excited for this. They finally get the guy that they really wanted versus, I mean, I don't know if this is that much different than some of the other offensive hirings they've had in the past. Let's see, what is their run of coaches? I think John Fox, Mark Trestman, um, who was before Eberflus? Was it Trestman?
I
Or
don't even remember, dude. I remember they brought in Lovey, and that went as about how you'd expect.
Yeah, I mean, Ben Johnson's going to have to prove the organization wrong, or the organization is just failing these head coaches. But I think, for what Ben Johnson, the trickery, the plays he has up his sleeve, the way he's able to utilize his offensive weapons, Bears fans should be excited. They have a reason to be excited. Hopefully this helps Caleb Williams progress as a young quarterback. So yeah, another one. Vikings extend Kevin O'Connell on a multi-year deal. Me personally, I am totally on board with this. I know he has not had the greatest playoff showing. However, I don't. He has some things he needs to figure out as far as play calling goes. Maybe in those big games. I know he's not the offensive coordinator, but he's definitely heavily involved. So we'll see. I really like KOC. I mean, his record in the regular season is truly incredible. The way he's able to win clutch games is really awesome. I just think kind of honestly the rosters in the last couple playoffs have failed us a little bit. In 2022, our defense was really, really one of the worst in the league under Ed Donatel, and that clearly showed in the playoff game where the Giants were just able to cook us with Daniel Jones up and down the field. And then this last year, I know he had there were some questionable calls that he made offensively, but I think the O line kind of failed us in that game. Sam Darnold didn't look good, and then yeah, it was, and then, just not having, kind of the players you need in the trenches, and then not really sure about Sam Darnold coming off a horrible week. I think that kind of lost us the game more than KOC did himself. But I like the hiring, or I like the extension here. It was going to happen regardless. I mean, we weren't going to get rid of him. I know teams were trying to trade for him, but that usually never happens, I feel like. So, and especially not when you have a 14 win regular season. But what do you think?
Yeah, I think he had the worst 13 and 4 team ever and worst 14 win team ever. So, um,
I think he's able to get out the most that he can from his roster, but he needs to, there's a couple question marks, I guess, but I don't know. I think this is a no-brainer.
yeah, I don't know who else you're going to get. And I guess
Right.
one more thing on the Bears was I know Vrabel is gone, but if I'm the Bears, that's kind of like who I would shoot for, like a more established coach, really. Like how Ben Johnson's led no team. Like I said, it's hard to say who was, you know, working on plays, kind of brainstorming with him at the Lions. Was it Dan Campbell heavily involved? Were their assistants heavily involved? So there's just a lot of question marks when you go from being just an offensive coordinator to now leading a team, especially one that's, big market team like the Bears. So I just want to touch on that real quick.
But yeah, all right. Next up, we have, McDaniels returning as the offensive coordinator of the Patriots under Vrabel. What'd you think about this?
But, I mean, it doesn't move, man.
It doesn't surprise me at all.
Yeah, it's whatever. He's been a lot of places, and it seems he kind of starts successful and then kind of tapers off. And I don't know if it's a remedial offense he's running. I don't know if it's what it is. I don't, but I know he's been a coach with the Raiders. just had a couple stints at a lot of different places. I think even the Broncos too, where it just looks like he's got it figured out, and then the world comes crashing down on him. So I mean, it's not a needle mover for me. So
Yeah. He really has only had success on the Patriots, so I I like the hiring for sure. I think, he should be able to help. I mean, he really has only had success with Tom Brady and Bill Belichick, but under Mike Vrabel, kind of keeping it within house with former Patriots, I think he should have success here, and it'll be good for a young Drake May. But that remains to be determined, considering he either has major success, otherwise is one of the worst coaches in the NFL. I think offensive coordinator wise, he should be good though. He's just not a head coach.
yeah, and that's kind of what I don't know. Just with Ben Johnson, Aaron Glenn getting hired, it's a completely different game. So
I agree. It'll be interesting to see, what these teams look like with their new coaches. The Cowboys, the Jags. Are there any other teams out there that are still looking for a head coach?
Saints,
Saints. Oh yeah, definitely the Saints and the Jags, and I think the Cowboys. Everyone's anxiously waiting on that one. So, is it going to
um,
be Dion? But
Raiders.
oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, there is some jobs out there that are a little less favorable than perhaps going to say the Bears, or Patriots job's already taken. The Jets, they kind of have some established weapons on. At least the Bears, they have a young quarterback. They got all these receivers. They kind of have a couple running backs to work with. Yeah, so I think those are some of probably the more favorable jobs. The Cowboys one is a high pressure situation. Get put in the pressure cooker with Jerry Jones just chirping you nonstop on the radio right after the games every week. But it'd be interesting to see where some other people land.
I guess last headline I just saw Ichiro and CC Sabathia got inducted in the Hall of Fame yesterday or the day before. So Ichiro somehow wasn't unanimous. There was one guy that didn't feel like giving him a vote, which is insane. And of course, CC Sabathia, um, Brewer, is part of the most legendary run I think of any pitcher ever through like seven complete games and 11 starts with two or three shutouts. Um, got the Brewers back to the playoffs in '08. So just, happy to see him get in. He was a absolute dog for a long, long time. 11
The
and
six,
2, 1.65 ERA when he got traded to the Brewers. So that's pretty insane. And seven complete games.
All right, so let's get into the NFL divisional round games that we had from this past weekend. We had some really, really good games here. What a weekend it was. Super, super excited to talk about these. Definitely some games, some upsets that we didn't think were going to happen, and then some last second chance opportunities to close out and win games that also did not happen. So, um, yeah, starting with our first game, the Saturday games. Um, the early one was the Texans 14, Chiefs 23. What did you see here?
So this game, I mean, kind of went as expected, Chiefs, Chiefs to win. Houston to keep it relatively close just because that's the Chiefs name of the game. But really, I don't know. I thought looked like they've been saving Kelsey and let him just kind of run free, kind of dominated. Chiefs really couldn't run the ball. Um, but I don't know. I heard a lot of rumblings about the Texans D, being some insane force. And they were, going to lead them to this upset, but just typical fashion. Chiefs had a game plan for it. Came out 13-6 at half and kind of just never looked back. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, not a lot happened this game besides Kyrie Fairburn couldn't make anything. um, Kelsey went off, and then we can talk about some of the flags or whatever, what have you. But I guess I don't know. That's my main
Right.
takeaway. Was it went as expected for the most part.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. Just reading here, Patrick Mahomes never lost in the divisional round. Classic. And the Houston Texans have still never won, which is pretty wild. But yeah, I mean, Travis Kelce in the frickin' playoffs, he looks old in the regular season, and then they just unleash him. It's just Patrick Mahomes running around and Travis Kelce catching balls over the middle that he's able to extend plays out, like, just run after the catch. He's always wide open. I'm sick of it, man. I'm sick of it. Sick to my stomach. But yeah, I mean, it pretty much was as expected. I don't think Houston looked like horrendous by any means in this game. I think CJ Stroud kind of did what he could, considering he also got hurt kind of early in this game. When he was running out of bounds, you could tell after that he just really wasn't the same, kind of escaping the pocket. And yeah, I mean, the Chiefs did what they had to do to win. Typical Chiefs. Um, Fingers crossed they lose next week. But yeah, I mean, Travis Kelce, 7 receptions, 117 yards, and a touchdown. He was just all over the place in this game. And yeah, I mean, I think I'm as far as what you want to talk about, there's definitely some calls that go the Chiefs' way. And it is frustrating. I'm surprised the refs didn't. There was another play, where Patrick Mahomes he lets up before he goes out of bounds and kind of baits the defender and then takes a little shove in the back and just flops out of bounds. And it's like they didn't throw a flag there, so I think they're catching on to that specific tactic that has. But it's not really any surprise here. There's also been some pretty poor reffing, in my opinion, all season in the NFL, and this is just another example of them. Just
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, it hasn't been great all year. It seems like the Chiefs kind of just are the benefactors of big time, flags, whether it's late hits, roughing pass, or that type of thing. But I also think, they're in the spotlight more than everyone else, so it kind of is twofold in that case. Like when you're always playing in the AFC Championship game, you're bound to, you know, have more things happen to you. And um, I guess a couple other things from this game that are interesting to me was, I guess, any team that's won back-to-back Super Bowls and has made the conference title game has ended up losing. So just hoping that, that trend continues. But with the Devil Magic Chiefs, I wouldn't hold your breath. Um, and then also too, just Andy Reid got to 300 wins, pretty cool for him. Fourth coach in history, he's been around forever, and it's just crazy that he could never win a Super Bowl until he got to the Chiefs, and now he's got three of them. So, um,
yeah.
just a couple other things I had from that game. I mean, I'm ready to move on if you are.
Yeah, we can move on. I just let's go Bills, dude. I'm all in on the Bills. Please, please make it stop. But yeah, let's go into our next game here. We had the Commanders 45, the Lions 31. What'd you see here?
I had an event, so I didn't get to watch all this game super close, but I mean, from the start, I mean, Washington scored 28 points in the second quarter. That's insane. Um, and I guess, Jaden Daniels played well. They're a big underdog, so came in to just a 15-2 team that's kind of steamrolled everybody. Nothing to lose. Rookie QB playing for, pride. And, um, there's just a lot of things that didn't go the Lions' way. I don't even think they're the better team particularly, but you talk about the injuries. I think it was four starters, four backups to start the year that weren't playing. So eight players on D you're missing. I know they had another dude leave in the first half as well. But outside of that, I mean, it's a high scoring game. And the Commanders, came to play and in a one and done situation, that's all you got to do is beat your opponent that day and live to see another week. So just good for them. Congrats and see you, Lions.
Peace, Lions. Yeah, no, I watched majority of this game and I was definitely surprised. Jaden Daniels does it again. Another upset this week, and now he goes to his first NFC Championship game. He just doesn't seem to make mistakes, honestly, in the big moment. So we'll see if that continues. Going up against a tough Eagles defense in Philly this weekend. Very curious to see how he plays, but it doesn't seem like the pressure gets to him in the moment, and the pressure definitely got to Jared Goff. It's not like the Washington Commanders have some sneaky, insane defense. Jared Goff threw three picks in this game. He lost them this game, flat out. That and the Jameson Williams throw that was picked off. Jared Goff just didn't show up today. Their defense, the defense looked bad. It kind of is what it is. I mean, Amon-Ra St. Brown had 8 rushes, 137 yards, no touchdowns. He obviously got the ball, but I did see he called out De'Ami Brown, I think maybe before the season started, and said he didn't know his name. I think he was picked before Amon-Ra. And De'Ami Brown had a big game for the Commanders. 6 receptions, 98 yards, no touchdowns, but he played well. Scary Terry obviously played well. And yeah, just like you said, that second quarter, Washington 28 points in that quarter. Lions just were never able to come back from that and just kept turning the ball over in clutch situations. So, um, hate to see you go, Lions, but we love to watch you leave because you chirped all season, and this was your Super Bowl run. So, not biased here at all as a Vikes fan, but, not a single win between any NFC North teams. I know we got bounced too, you have to say that, but, the Lions were frauds too.
Yeah, and I think just looking at this game, looking at the next two games, in the playoffs, the team that turns the ball over less typically wins. The Lions had four. I think Rams had two fumbles, and Ravens obviously had I think it was two fumbles and a pick. So, just it's so obvious, like you just hear it all the time. You can't turn the ball over, yada yada yada. But I mean, when it's like I said, one and done, and you're giving them the ball two, three, four times, it's just hard to win with the lack of possessions, lack of point scoring opportunities, and typically giving the other team a short field to work with. So just kind of
Mhm.
the trend.
Yeah, and this is kind of like the type of game. Well, actually, yeah, no, this is kind of the type of game. I was just looking at the rushing yards for the Lions. I mean, honestly, they couldn't get in the end zone enough, but this was the type of game they were winning all season, like typically we would have seen a 47 or 48 to 45 win for the Lions here. However, Goff just didn't have a good enough game, and they were constantly trying to come from behind. I think the Dan versus Dan game, Dan outcoached Dan in this game. Dan Quinn, that is. Um, he he beat Dan, man. He was going for it on fourth downs. I think I saw something like um Jaden Daniels also on third and fourth down this season is a 99.1 passer rating or 99.1 QBR, something like that on like throws. So um, that's impressive. I think I saw that from a tweet from Dan Orlovsky. earlier today. So, Jaden Daniels really impressive. He's not letting the pressure get to him. He's not making those big mistakes. And, the Lions, is their window closing here is a big question. They have to go hire two new coordinators. Obviously, they still have a lot of young talent on the team, so expect their offense to still be good next year. But I do expect perhaps a little bit of a come back to earth here for the Lions.
Yeah, I mean, I think the Packers are going to be slightly better. Bears should be better. Vikings probably about the same. It's three teams that are going to be just better. And their cakewalk NFC North is like no more. I'm not saying it's cakewalk, but in terms of how they dominated everyone, it's not that anymore. There's three teams that are going to have to play twice that are competent. Um, yeah, and I guess just real quick on the turnovers, it's hard to if you're turning the ball over 5 times to score 41 is insane. Goff had that 5 pick game against the Texans earlier this year. And you can come back, you can win with 26-23. That was the final of that game. They ended up putting up 31 still with 5 turnovers, but say they only have two, that's three more chances to, close that gap. And I think that's just really what it was, is you can't win a shootout that way. You can win a low scoring brawler game, but it's just really, really hard to score 41 with 5 turnovers. So, or
Yeah.
45, I'm sorry.
Is Goff like actually a Super Bowl winning quarterback? Could he do it? In the perfect scenario, maybe. Obviously, he's made a Super Bowl. That was on the Rams when they had Gurley and, just an insane defense with D line with Aaron Donald. I don't know. I don't know. We'll see what happens from here. I'm not going to count him out, but, their window seems to have closed a little bit.
Yeah, and just back to the is a bye always the best thing, you know? Having all that time off. I mean, the Chiefs are they're built for it, but a team like the Lions that kind of, had a ton of momentum, a ton of, coming off a huge win against the Vikings. Um, is a bye always the best thing for some of these teams? I think it's kind of case by case again in terms of coaching and how they're built, but that's kind of just my opinion on it is I wouldn't always say that having that game off's the best case.
All right, we have Eagles 28, Rams 22. What'd you see here?
I thought the snow and just the overall conditions of the field were huge hugely beneficial to the Eagles, ground and pound team. Had been struggling to throw the ball. So, right away that really set them up with the advantage. Um, and just kind of how things unfolded, huge turnovers again, you know. I feel like I've said it 8 times already this podcast, but um, Stafford looks so feeble when he fumbled it, dude. I don't know if you saw that. He kind of just got it punched out while he was just sitting there, wrapped up. Huge turnover. Kyron Williams, huge turnover. Both those, if I'm not mistaken. I think that Kyron was within the Rams 25. Stafford's was on their side still of midfield. So, just given those two opportunities to the Eagles, was huge. And then just down the stretch, they made it a game. And I really thought they were gonna do it when Puka went up and caught that ball on the boundary, but um didn't happen. Um, the last play of the game was really feeble, in my opinion. Um, but it was set up by that Jalen Carter sack. Um, and I guess I don't know what do you kind of think, and what do you what are your expectations for next week?
Kind of looked like the Eagles were going to run away with this one at one point, and then Matt Stafford just kind of clutched up, and looked like they were gonna, get the win at the end there. However, uh, the D line was getting, or the O line was kind of getting obliterated a little bit during the game. Stafford took a couple of sacks. There was some fumbles that they had. I think the Rams probably just punched themselves in the or shot themselves in the foot one too many times to come away. And Saquon Barkley, was incredible. I mean, it's like or like you said in the past, the Eagles O line is by far the best in the league, and they're just historically insanely good. But it can't not really take away anything from him. He had 205 yards and 2 touchdowns. So yeah, he was my winner for the week. I mean, he is their entire offense. Um, and so very impressed with him. Um, and then yeah, I mean, Jalen Hurts never really got into any sort of rhythm. Also, AJ Brown, horrible drop on that sideline touch, what would have been probably a touchdown or had him at the 1 yard line. That was pretty horrendous. But, the Eagles with, just with their defense with Saquon Barkley, I mean, they're a very scary team. Um, do I think they can win it all? I'm not sure, but right now, are they the Super Bowl favorite or favorite in the NFC to come out? 1,000%. Um, I don't know if their offense is going to be able to put up with the likes of Patrick Mahomes and Josh Allen. I mean, obviously, you have to stop Saquon, but it seems like if you can somehow just mitigate Saquon, Jalen Hurts hasn't really impressed me much at all here. And I know he's just banged up too, which doesn't help.
Yeah, so
Um,
I think his health is a huge question mark. And I mean, you talk about their O-line being insane. They give up 7 sacks, like to a Rams team that looked really good rushing the passer against the Vikings. But I think I saw they had 38 sacks all year. And they had like something like I think they sacked Darnold 9 times. They had 16 in the last 2 games. So it's not like this is like some sort of powerhouse um defensive line. That's really concerning, especially in the snow. For it's harder to rush the passer in the snow. It's harder to get off, harder to keep your feet. Offensive line should have had a huge advantage. Um, so 7 sacks is pretty concerning in that regard. I mean, the Commanders aren't a great pass rush team either, so I guess I don't know how much they'll be able to capitalize on it, but just the combination kind of Jalen Hurts not being able to, scramble, keep plays alive, and taking all those sacks really hurt them. And I guess I don't know. It's going to be cold again in Philadelphia this week. You got another divisional opponent that just beat you. Um, so I don't know. I think Hurts's injury is kind of, the big question mark, the big factor for their upcoming game.
mhm. Yeah, definitely. And a rematch with the Commanders. So very curious, what happens in that one. But they definitely have what it takes, I think, to make the Super Bowl. I just want to make that clear. I just don't know, if they're gonna be able to beat, these elite quarterbacks that they have in the AFC that are still left. So, but yeah, I was impressed as well with, the Rams defensive line. Yeah, how many sacks do you say they had in this game? Seven
7.
sacks.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
they had 38 all in 17 regular season games. And I don't know if they just figured something out in the playoffs to sack Darnold 9 times, sack him 7 times, but it looks like a completely different pass rush.
for sure. Final game on Sunday was the Bills 27, Ravens 25. This was, I think, the game that everyone was waiting for. The big Josh Allen versus Lamar showdown. What'd you see here?
It seemed like every pregame show I watched, just listening to people throughout the week, probably 90% of them were on the Ravens, and I couldn't figure out why. I mean, we're talking about a Buffalo team at home with who I think is the better. I think Josh Allen's better than Lamar, straight up. I think he's the MVP. Um, and just, how he needed this win. He's been better in the playoffs than Lamar has throughout his career. Again at home, and people like to point to like their week 5 game, whatever it was, where Derrick Henry ran all over them. They were missing like 3 starting linebackers. Like that's not the same team at all. It's a huge impact. You got guys calling plays different. Just mix-ups in the back end, motions, that type of thing. So just getting those like starters back was huge. They did a good job at limiting Henry and just limiting really the Ravens for most of the game. I know they came down and scored at the end, had a chance to tie it, but outside of that drive, it was really like the Bills were kind of in command, other than when the Ravens scored on their opening possession. You know what I mean? So, um, just this game went how I thought it would. I thought the Bills would win. Thought it'd be kind of close. It could have not been close, barring the last touchdown. So, I mean, I guess I don't know what you thought about it.
Yeah, I mean the Ravens also just, they lost turnover battle. They looked sloppy. They didn't really play their normal football, which I think they've been a little iffy in games all year. It's not like 12-5 still a great record, but they have had some head scratching losses. And Josh Allen, he didn't throw any touchdowns, but actually didn't even have that many passing yards, but he didn't really have to do that much because they were just able to impose their will, kind of running the football, and Josh was just able, they were able to capitalize on turnovers. So, he wasn't asked to do too much, only threw the ball 22 times. Um, but yeah, I think it's just this was a turnover game, and then obviously, Mark Andrews dropping that 2-point conversion at the end. They always run that play. I know we're going to talk about this, but yeah, I think there's 3 times where they have ran that 2-point conversion to try and tie a game at the end of the game and have failed all 3 times. Um, so yeah, I mean it kind of played out, I guess, like we thought. Um, Baltimore was able to come back a little bit in the second half, but overall, the Bills looked every bit of part as what we kind of thought they were.
Yeah, and like I said, this game to me was kind of Ravens haven't been able to take that next step. Bills have been in the AFC Championship game plenty. I mean, the only team that really has their number is the Chiefs, so they'll get a chance to rematch with them this week, and looks really excited for that one.
Yeah, no, that just fingers crossed that they can do it. I very, very nervous to see, what teams look, or what who comes out on top this weekend, but just anything to knock off the Chiefs and not have them go back to a third straight Super Bowl and have a chance at a three-peat here, because I do not I'm not sure if any of these NFC teams can, or if either of these teams are gonna win it all. But um yeah, no, this is definitely is a good game here. I don't know if it was as much fireworks as we were hoping for, but overall, it was a solid performance by the Bills.
Yeah,
And
and I mean the Bills showed. I mean they were at home, and the weather had a little bit to do with it, but I think they showed, they don't have to have that game from Josh Allen where he's throwing for 300, running for 100, 2 rushing, 2 passing touchdowns. I mean, they got enough where they can kind of just scrap it out with teams, and you need that, especially when you play in the cold. So
well, yeah, that basically wraps it up for divisional round. All right, now going into our preview for next week, what looks to be an awesome conference championship weekend. Starting off with the first game, we have the NFC Championship game, 2 p.m. Sunday game between Washington and they are at Philly. What are your expectations for this?
yeah, so I mean, right away it's a 6 point Philadelphia advantage. I think that's pretty fair in my opinion. I want to say when I first saw this come out, it was 4.5. Um, could be wrong. I might have just saw some bogus line, but um, either way, I think this is going to come down to QB play. Um, is Hurts available? Is he 100%? Is he going to be a liability? Because he looked kind of like a liability in the second half. I'm not gonna lie. He took that safety. Um, as soon as it was kind of like right, I think he got hurt the drive before, came back out. They got it at their three or whatever, got pressured, couldn't move. Um, is that gonna be a trend? I think that will allow Washington's defense to kind of um settle in, especially, if they don't have to worry about him taking off like he did last week against the Rams, where he started with like that 40-yard touchdown run. So just kind of, it's really Jalen Hurts for me. That's the key to this game. Um, I don't think they're gonna have to throw the ball a ton. They're just gonna have to kind of keep doing what they've been doing and give it to Saquon. But if they're gonna have to go to Kenny Pickett, if they're playing with a Jalen Hurts that can't run, can't do much, it gives Washington a huge edge. And I think these teams have seen each other enough this year to kind of know what to expect. Nothing's going to surprise them on either side. Um, so, it's just going to be a great inter division game for the right to go to the Super Bowl.
I agree, for the most part. Yeah, I kind of forgot about that early rushing touchdown from Jalen Hurts last week. When he's able to use his legs, that could be a big factor because he did have a long touchdown run that we hadn't seen in a while from him, which was kind of exciting last week. But I'm definitely giving the edge to Jaden Daniels as far as who's the better quarterback in this game, and who is, gonna be able to um, outplay the other one, just considering Jalen Hurts has been, mediocre and been so banged up these last few weeks with concussions and, now his, knee injury, I think that he has. Um, are the Washington Commanders going to be able to mitigate what Saquon does is a big, question mark for me. And then, is Washington kind of going to be able to just kind of impose their will and keep drives going on third and fourth down like they have been? Um, so big question mark. The line Philly -6. I think it makes sense, but I don't love it. I still think that Philly holds the edge in this game. But it is an interdivisional matchup, and I think, it's 1-1 this year, in those games, right? That they've
Yeah,
played. So this is
and
the third time they're playing.
Commanders lost when Jalen Daniels didn't have his best game, and the Commanders won when Jalen Hurts didn't play, and obviously Jalen Daniels played insane in that one, 5 touchdowns. So, is this game going to fall somewhere in the middle where Hurts plays, Jayden Daniels still plays well? What's going to happen there? Um, and it's the playoffs, anything can happen. Commanders have literally no pressure really. Like this is, it's a rookie QB, no expectation. I mean, they picked second, they're the second worst team in the NFL last year, so it's like they outdid everyone's expectations, and I really think they're gonna come in here just trying to, cap the season off. But I guess I don't think whoever wins has a great shot at beating the AFC team, in my opinion.
Mhm. Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with this, I would be surprised if either of these teams could go and win a Super Bowl. I mean, obviously extremely surprised if Jaden Daniels can make it to a Super Bowl in his rookie season. Not even sure when the last time is that has happened. Was it Ben Roethlisberger or Tom Brady?
Roethlisberger, or no, Roethlisberger had the most wins. And I saw, I want to say the last QB, it wasn't the last one. Purdy did it in 2023, but it was Mark Sanchez before that. That's what I saw. on Twitter. I thought that was hilarious.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh, to make it to a championship, right?
yeah,
Or yeah, not the Super Bowl though.
yeah, none of them
Right.
have.
Right. So, yeah, if Jaden Daniels can do it, I mean, hats off to him. He should have been the clear number one pick. It's looking like at this point, the season he had, the way he takes care of the ball and his ability to just be clutch under pressure. So, yeah, I mean, this is gonna be a fun game to watch. But
Yeah, I
I
mean,
do, I
I could make the argument though if him and Caleb switch spots, he's in no better situation just based on how poverty the Bears are, you know?
True. That's fair. That's fair. I still think he's was more polished and he's older, obviously. I think he's like 25 or something.
Yeah,
Um,
he's got more experience for sure.
Definitely has more experience. I think you could make that argument, but yeah, it'll be curious, be curious to see. They definitely need Saquon. Philly needs Saquon to basically do everything on offense if Jalen isn't healthy and isn't looking good. So this will be a good matchup for sure.
Yeah, agreed. And then I guess, the big game in the AFC at the night game, Bills Chiefs, Chiefs hosting it. Um, and again, the Chiefs or no teams won the Super Bowl twice, made it to the championship game and went back to the Super Bowl. So Chiefs looking to be the first team to do that. Um, Last I saw the line was Chiefs by 1.5. I'm not sure if that's changed at all, but in this one I'm taking the Bills and I just think, it's Josh Allen's year to kind of get over the hump um against a Chiefs team that of the last couple of years is probably the least dynamic. Just it's not the best Chiefs team. They've had the best record, kind of best, in tight games, but I don't know. I don't want to go against Patrick Mahomes, but I just think this is kind of shaping up to be, the Bills' year to do it. So
Yeah, no, I agree. Don't want to jinx the Bills at all here, but I think they are the this it does seem like it is, kind of Josh Allen's year to frickin' do it. So he's got to go get it 1,000%. Hopefully the Bills can stop the Chiefs offensively, and just take away, some of those big plays they have to Travis Kelce or Xavier Worthy even. If they can kind of mitigate those and make sure Patrick Mahomes isn't able to, just strut out of the pocket and do what he does, extending plays and running for first downs when it seems like nothing's there. And if Josh Allen and the offense shows up, then I think the Bills might be able to do it. Like I said, no, don't want to jinx anyone there, but it'd be pretty cool to see the Bills back in the Super Bowl after many years. So, really hoping, really, really hoping that they are able to impose their will in this game and just finally take down the Chiefs.
yeah, agreed. I mean, Chiefs have had their number the last couple of years in the playoffs. So, hopefully they can rewrite some history here and get to their first Super Bowl. I don't think they've been to the Super Bowl or really even had success since I want to say they went to the Super Bowl 4 years in a row, lost all four. Um,
Yeah, they've been to four of them and lost all four. So
yeah,
they're in a similar boat as the Vikings, honestly. Those are probably the two most comparable where they have success and, something goes wrong in the playoffs or just, it feels like the vibes are against them. And luck is against them at times, but Josh Allen might be superhuman and might be able to overcome that. So that's kind of what I'm hoping for here.
yeah, and this Bills D to me kind of matches up a little bit better, a little bit more talent, better chance, especially against a aging Chiefs offense that, is like I just said, they're not as dynamic as they were. It looks like Pacheco's a little bit slower. Kelsey's obviously slower. I mean, they got D Hop who's 80. Hollywood Brown's back, but and Worthy. But I just think that team is going to need um, to really lean on their defense. Where in past years it was more of a shootout. Um,
Hmm.
so
Yeah. Agreed, agreed. Very excited for this one, man. You know, I I hope they can do it. What we talked about this too. I don't think a 15 win team has made it to the Super Bowl in a quite some time here. Is that correct?
yeah, I mean, obviously the Patriots were undefeated when they went, but I think 15-win teams are have either lost in the championship game or before every year. But again, none of them are
None of them are the
possess the
cheap.
witchcraft that the Chiefs possess. So I mean, who knows? It's a straight up coin flip. Probably the most coin flippy of them all games these playoffs. I mean, last week like I said, I maybe I was just delusional, but it seemed to me like the Ravens just weren't they're just not playoff performers yet, you know. So kind of in that boat. I'm just in the boat where it just seems time to at least give the Bills one, you know. Chiefs can be back there next year, do whatever, but just feels like the Bills have it this year, in my opinion. And also too, I think the Bills make it to the Super Bowl. There's no like Eagles Commanders doesn't matter. Whereas Chiefs Eagles would be a pretty like insane matchup, you know. That's way more of a game, but I think if the Bills are there, dude, it's a wrap.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I agree with you there, man. Super interested to see how this plays out, and sad that football is almost coming to an end here. So, but it has been a very entertaining season thus far, and we still got few few big games left here. So, the
Yeah,
biggest of games, but
might have to branch out to the CFL
yeah,
this
start
summer.
watching some XFL games.
Yeah,
Actually, I don't even know if it's still a thing, but
I think it
yeah, no.
is.
I think it is too. I get confused with all the different ones they have. The USFL, is that one still, or is that an older one? I don't even know.
I don't know, dude. We could start following like the that prison football. Do you see that?
The Lingerie Football League, I should bring that one back.
Looks like they might have renamed the XFL a UFL.
That's okay.
XFL and USFL merged.
Let's
So
go.
that kicks off March 28th.
Yeah.
I remember betting on this shit last year, dude.
Start watching some indoor football league.
We won. I got a buddy that's actually plays in the CFL. They won the title last year. It's a
Oh
dub.
shit. Nice.
Um,
Good stuff.
but yeah, I guess I mean we'll be back next week to kind of review what happened here. But I'm gonna pick I'm gonna pick Bills. I'm gonna take Commanders and an upset.
To go to the Super Bowl.
Yep.
Ooh, ooh, ooh. I like it. I like it. I'll go Bills, Philly. Just to switch it up here. Yeah,
Yeah, I
I
mean
think the Bills can do it. I
if we
think
get
the
a
Bills
healthy
can do
Jalen Hurts, bro, it's a completely different game. But I guess I don't know. I almost was gonna ask you to wait to record this later in the week, just kind of see how things shook out. But I'm just gonna go with my gut and think he looked really beat up kind of at the end of that game, and that he's gonna be coming in at, maybe
right.
75% or so.
Right. Yeah, and I mean I also just didn't want to take the same thing as you. I like, the Commanders potentially coming out this with a win, but with Saquon, if Saquon is able to just continue what he's been doing and break any freaking and like, outside the line run that he's had. I like it. If they're able to do that, then yeah, I would kind of think Philly's going to win this game. But yeah, I mean, Jalen Hurts is super banged up and hasn't really been able to do too much. And AJ Brown hasn't looked great either. But
No.
um, yeah, we'll come back next week with what happened with our picks.
Yeah.
Should we talk about college football playoff championship game real quick?
Yeah, I mean, I don't have too much to say on this. I mean, it went basically everyone knew Ohio State was going to win that game. Notre Dame credits them made a game. But just didn't have the firepower on offense to really compete, even though they did at one point look like, they might do it. I don't know if it was like Jesus on their side, the Catholic school or what, but I don't think the result really surprised many people. And I guess the one thing that happened this game that saw talked about a lot was just kicking the field goal down 16. And honestly, I didn't really mind it, but when they missed it, that was basically the nail in the coffin. Because if they make it, Ohio State comes down, they score that field goal, they still have 30 seconds left or whatever to score a touchdown. A lot of people are like two touchdown game, but that's assuming you're gonna score two touchdowns and score two-point conversions too. So saw him take a lot of heat for it, and I mean, at base level, it seems dumb, but you're also expecting a completely perfect game there. So it gave him a little bit more of an option against the Ohio State defense that was number one red zone defense in the nation.
Yeah, I mean, I started to get to feel like, dude, can Notre Dame do this? Because in that fourth quarter, or the third quarter touchdown when they were able to get close, I actually shut it off for a while because I was like, oh man, this is a blowout. And then I come back, it's 15-31. I thought they had a real chance there to I thought maybe they could do it. And then they go for that field goal and, just hits the upright, and that's just takes everything out of them. And honestly, they had a chance at the end there, but that deep ball by Will Howard um, to Smith, beautifully executed on third down there after I thought they were just going to like lay down and let Notre Dame have one more shot at it. But, I think it was the outcome that most people expected. However, I think Notre Dame fought it about just as hard as they could. So I still think hats off to Notre Dame for making it this far. They just ran into an absolute powerhouse in Ohio State. But what do you think about Ohio State winning it though with one loss to Michigan, man?
I mean,
Does it
yeah,
does
I don't
it
know
take
what.
anything away from it for you or no?
No, I mean, it's all about the end result. I mean, think of
Yeah,
a team that goes 9-7, wins a Super Bowl. Who gives a fuck what their regular season record was? End of the day.
true, true.
Um, I don't know. I think this format was really kind of trash, if we're being honest.
Yeah.
How they're playing this game on Monday after all the NFL playoff games. Saw an idea that, have this set up for January 1st. I don't really hate that idea. Um, you know, get the games going right away, skip the conference championship games because who cares? We saw those don't matter anyways. So just think that needs to be reformulated. I'd really like to see some sort of reseed or just not giving, Boise State the three, like sure, let them in. If you want to
Yeah.
say they deserved it, give them the 12. You know what I mean? Um,
Hmm.
Ohio State, no reason they should have been the 8, 5, like why are
Hmm.
they playing Oregon second round? You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
and then I mean, it helped out Notre Dame a ton and it kind of hurt most of the other teams, just so.
Hmm.
And again, I mean, all all the teams I got to buy lost. So
That's crazy. But yeah, the format was definitely kind of flaming trash this year. It was brutal. Um, do you think if Penn State would have won in the semifinal, it would have been a better game versus Ohio State, or do you think it was just the writing was on the wall for Ohio State to win?
I don't think they compete more. I mean, Notre Dame like went through the second and third quarter without being able to do much, but they ended up making it a game. It's the same thing with, people want to like praise Indiana for being the closest whatever first round game. And like that game wasn't close until you factor in some garbage time stuff that happened. So I mean, I don't know. I almost am at the belief that maybe this should be an 8 team, not a
Hmm
12. And that would really help to, get them that ending on January 1st or whatever. So
hmm
I
hmm
just I think there was probably 4 teams too many. You got
Yeah,
your SMU, Boise's, um, Indiana,
right.
Tennessee, dude. Like,
What are we doing?
get rid of those 4 and yeah, let's come back.
Hmm
Um, but yeah, I don't know. I thought at least they tried something new, but whatever.
Yeah, no, and there was no hype for this game either, like everyone said, but I think that was just kind of the timing of it as well, after the divisional round games and Monday, and it's also
Yeah, I
MLK
mean
Day,
we
which,
we watched Ohio State basically have 2 national championships before this, like playing Oregon and playing Texas. Like
right.
what are we doing? Um, and then
Yeah, that committee, some of those people might need to be fired in that committee.
I just, dude, enough with the auto buy for a fucking mid-major. Like,
But
I
no.
mean, or Arizona State put them in at the 8. You know what I mean? Like, they should have been the last team in. Like,
Hmm
give them the 8. Tennessee gone, SMU gone, Indiana gone, Boise gone. There, I did it. I did your guys' jobs for you.
Right.
Like,
Right.
it's not fucking rocket science.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll see if they
There's just
see if they
not
switch it up.
12. Has there ever been 12 competitive teams in your lifetime in college football? No. I'll answer that for you. No.
Yeah,
In a good year, there's probably 5.
mhm.
This
Especially
year,
now when you can just put out fucking $20 million to your starters,
I'd argue there wasn't even 5. I mean, Texas, Ohio State, Oregon, probably really the only ones. Georgia was in a huge down year. I mean, Notre Dame was not great. Um, you know, I already Tennessee I thought was horrible. And then, Penn State, borderline competitive. There's your 4. You know what I mean? So it's like, dude, what are we doing?
Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. Well, I'd say that pretty much wraps it up for us. Anything else you want to touch on here?
No, I mean, if you made it this far, thanks for watching, thanks for listening. And we talked about at the beginning, kind of just, NFL's winding down, no more college football. I mean, we both watch a lot of basketball, watch a lot of hockey, college basketball, golf, so just kind of looking to incorporate some other stuff, maybe add some new segments,
For sure.
just kind of keep things fresh and fun here at Borderline Sports, baby.
Borderline sports, keeping it fresh and fun. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, thanks for watching and signing off, I guess.
Peace.
Peace.